Yes.
Out of his compassion.
Out of his compassion. Compassion for who?
Passion for all the fallen conditioned souls.
Like who?
Like you.
Like me.
Like me. Or maybe not you. You're probably a purity buddy, but me for sure.
Well, definitely me. But it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that. Srila Prabhupada came here to save me. You want to say something, Prabhupada?
Save us.
To save us. And the reason I say, taking it personally, to save me, there's a young woman that had gone up to Srila Prabhupada. It was early in his time here in America. And she asked him, why did you come here? You know, just very, very genuine. Like, why did you come here? You came all the way from India. You know, you brought all these books. Why did you come here? And Srila Prabhupada told her, I came here to give you this Bhagavad Gita. And in that way, it's good for us to take it personal. Take Srila Prabhupada personal. You're supposed to take your guru personally. That's how you make that relationship, that connection. But it's very different when you reach the stage of Srila Prabhupada's closest devotees and associates, and you're able to say, Srila Prabhupada came to save me, and feel the weight of those words. Because guru, yes, guru means bring you from the darkness to the light, but it also means heavy. And being able to feel the heaviness of Srila Prabhupada, it's also very powerful. So, we're going to be reviewing chapter 7, verse 30, but before that, let's just get in the right mindset, in the right mood. Is there another mic in there? No? Oh, okay, perfect. We're going to just say it together, if you just have the mic with you.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Radha Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sarvana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Vada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Pranamami Hari Priye.
You know the next one, Master G. You don't need the glasses.
Oh, you
Yeah. No, you got this.
Kalpataruyasya Kripa Sindhu Prevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Let's pass it down to just anyone else.
Here, give it to Master G.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta.
Then Monica, do you want to try this last one?
Yeah, I can do that.
I have faith in you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, as I said before, we're doing chapter 7, verse 30. Chapter 7, entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. In text 30, this is the last text in the chapter. And it being the last text in the chapter, it can be said that this is the culmination, the conclusion of chapter 7. Now, that being said, who can read this conclusion for us? Let's have someone on this. I haven't seen the mic go this way yet. Where's the mic? Oh, perfect. Go ahead and read the problem.
Translation: those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death.
Okay, thank you. Pass it down. I want to hear your voice soon. I don't think I've met you before. I also haven't met you before. I see a few new faces actually. So I just want to get your names real quick, just so I can start remembering.
Niranjan.
Niraj?
Niranjan.
Niranja.
Monique.
Hmm?
Monique.
Monique.
Yes.
So Niranjan?
Yeah.
Monique? Joshua. Thank you. That's easier for me to remember. So Niranjan, Joshua, Monique. Is there anyone new? I've seen you guys before.
Satya Saraswati Devi Das.
Saraswati Devi Das.
Satya Saraswati Devi Das.
Satya Saraswati Devi Das. Thank you, Mataji. And go ahead and just say your name.
Vaijayanti Devidas. Vaijayanti.
Vaijayanti
Vaijayanti.
Devi Das. Yes. Jai, thank you. So, I want to try to get to hear your voices. That's why you might see me pass the mic around so that everybody can read. So now let's just go back up so we can read this. Now this Sanskrit verse is a little tough for me, personally. Let's get the mic. I'll be probably if you could. Just take it line by line, we're going to repeat after you. Sari Bhutati Daivam Mam. Sari Bhutati Daivam Mam. Sari Yagyam Chaye Vidhu. Sari Yagyam Chaye Vidhu. Prayana Kere Abhichamam. Prayana Kere Abhichamam. Te Vidhu Yukta Chetasha. Te Vidhu Yukta Chetasha.
Saribhutadidevam mam.
Saribhutadidevam mam.
Sariyagyam chaye vidhu.
Sariyagyam chaye vidhu.
Prayana kale pichamam.
Prayana kale pichamam.
Te vidur yukta chetasaha.
Te vidur yukta chetasaha.
And actually, let's hear the Mataji's this time. If I could have a volunteer Mataji. Volunteers tribute.
Yes.
Microphone. I'm glad you got the reference.
Preschool. Sorry. Saribhutadi Daivam Mam.
Saribhutadi Daivam mam.
Sadiyagyam Chaye Vidhu.
Sadiyagyam chaye vidhu.
Prayana Kale Pichamam.
Prayana kale pichamam.
Te Vidur Yukta Chetasa.
Te vidur yukta chetasa.
Now this board's pretty short. It's only 3 paragraphs, so I do want to just read through the whole thing. Just one quick read through. If I could have someone new read.
I'll do it.
Yes.
Persons acting in Krishna consciousness are never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the transcendental association of Krishna consciousness, one can understand how the Supreme Lord is the governing principle of the material manifestation and even of the demigods. Gradually, by such transcendental association, one becomes convinced of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at the time of death, such as Krishna-conscious person can never forget Krishna. Naturally, he is thus promoted to the planet of the Supreme Lord, Golok Vrindavan.
Thank you, Monique. If you can pass it to
Niranjan.
Naranjan.
Yeah.
Naranjan.
This 7th chapter particularly explains how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. The beginning of Krishna consciousness is association of persons who are Krishna conscious. Such association is spiritual and puts one directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. And by His grace, one can understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, one can really understand the constitutional position of the living entity and how the living entity forgets Krishna and becomes entangled in material activities. By gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good association, the living entity can understand that due to forgetfulness of Krishna, he has become conditioned by the loss of material nature. He can also understand that this human form of life is an opportunity to regain Krishna consciousness, and that it should be fully utilized to attain the costless mercy of the Supreme Lord.
Can you pass it back to Joshua?
Where was he?
Oh, very top.
Thank you, sir.
Many.
Many subjects have been discussed in this chapter: the man in distress, the inquisitive man, the man in want of material necessities, knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of Paramatma, liberation from birth, death, and diseases, and worship of the Supreme Lord. However, he who is actually elevated in Krishna consciousness does not care for the different processes. He simply directly engages himself in activities of Krishna consciousness, and thereby factually attains his constitutional position as an eternal servitor of Lord Krishna. In such a situation, he takes pleasure in hearing and glorifying the Supreme Lord in pure devotional service. He is convinced that by doing so, all his objectives will be fulfilled. This determined faith is the
It's all good. We're all practicing.
and it is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service. That is the verdict of all scriptures. This 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is the substance of that conviction.
And you just finish reading with this last portion there.
Thus ends the
Bhakti Vedanta.
that's the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
The matter of knowledge of the absolute. Srila Prabhupada ki!
Jai.
Knowledge of the absolute. So again, this is the conclusion of this chapter. The substance of this conviction of having faith in our bhakti. So having knowledge of the absolute is supposed to help us really set our faith in bhakti. But now going back up. Too close to me. With this last chapter, with this last text, full consciousness of me. What is Krishna asking of us? Very simple. Be fully conscious of me. Think of me. Have me in your mind. And when Srila Prabhupada came, what was his message? It was the same thing. Yes, he preached Krishna consciousness, but what does that mean? It means to be fully conscious of Krishna, even at the time of death. And luckily, Srila Prabhupada, when he came with this message of thinking of Krishna, chant and be happy, he also gave us the process by which we can come to that platform. Chapter 4, verse 34. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So this is how we get to that process. We find that process. We get to that process through the guru, through the teacher, through the spiritual master. And this text elaborates on that. But although this is the process, 2 fingers. Again, Mother Yashoda, when she was tying Krishna, if you're new, I apologize. This might go over your head.
I know.
But
I know the story.
when she was trying to tie Krishna to the grinding mortar, 2 fingers. One of them was endeavor, and what was the other finger?
Mercy.
Mercy. Mercy is very important because without mercy, we are not going to be able to get to the finish line. We can put in all the work we want, but without Guru's mercy, we're not going to fully understand Krishna. That's the importance of having that spiritual master. So why did Srila Prabhupada come? Another reason, to grant us this opportunity to understand Sri Krishna, to understand the Supreme Person. This is Krishna consciousness. And just like text 30, chapter 7 says, we need to be convinced of Krishna as the Supreme Person. And once we're convinced, we never forget. Even at the time of death, we're promoted to his abode. And that's the power of our thoughts. Wherever we think is where we're gonna go. And there's there's different examples of this. If you close your eyes and you think of Paris, the Eiffel Tower, that's where you're gonna be. If you close your eyes and you think of Vrindavan, that's where you're gonna go. If you close your eyes and you start thinking about the next Marvel movie that's coming out, you're gonna go right to the movie theater. Your thoughts take you in so many different places. And your thoughts take you there very quickly. On the topic of distance, talking about the spiritual world and the material world. Oh, actually, I got a nice little picture for it. And I can zoom in. But right here is the spiritual sky on top, and then the material world at the bottom. A little fun fact, actually, the material world only constitutes 25% of the total manifestation. So 25% is just this material world here, and the other 75% is far greater than this. But from the point of Brahmaloka, we see, it doesn't look too far away. It looks pretty close. There are different speeds. Walking speed, there's running speed. If you want to get faster, you can go at the speed of sound. The speed of sound is pretty fast. But faster than the speed of sound is the speed of light. Faster even than the speed of light is the speed of thought. And in the scriptures it said that if you start at Brahmaloka, if you start at the very edge of the material manifestation, and you travel for millions and millions of years at the speed of thought, again, remember how fast that is. If you close your eyes and think about the other side of the world, you're going to be right there. It's almost instantaneous. But traveling for millions and millions of years from the edge of the material world towards the spiritual sky at the speed of thought, it doesn't matter how fast you're going. Even if you're going that fast, it said that you are still far, far away from the spiritual sky. So even at that great speed, that spiritual sky, it's so far away from us. It's so far away from this material manifestation. Another example to really see how powerful our thoughts are. Some of us have heard this story before of two brothers. They got stuck in the rain. It started raining. They started running for cover. One went left, one went right. They went through the doors. One of them ended up in a temple like this. And then the other one ended up at the strip club down the street. It's interesting how one wrong move can get you in a different place altogether. One misstep. But the brother that was in the strip club, in the brothel, all he was thinking about was, oh my goodness, my brother, he's so lucky. He's so lucky. He was able to go to the temple. I'm surrounded by all this Maya, all this illusion, all these drugs and alcohol. It smells bad. I don't want to see all these people, all these girls and boys. I just want to go to the temple where he is. And his brother that went to the temple, all he was thinking about was, oh my goodness, my brother's so lucky. He's surrounded by all those women. He has so much he can enjoy. The sights must be amazing. The sights here are a lot better. But, again, their thoughts. Although his brother was at the temple, his mind was absorbed in the brothel, in women, in wine, in money. And his brother that was in the brothel, in the strip club, his mind was completely absorbed in the temple. He was thinking about Gornitai. He was thinking about their lordships on the altar. He was thinking about the services he could do here. He was thinking about God. And in that way, he was factually here because of how absorbed his mind was in this place. Haridas Thakur is another example. It said that Haridas Thakur, he got whipped and whipped and whipped around the marketplace. But he didn't feel a single thing. Because the only thing that he had in mind was the feet of Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya. Because his mind was so absorbed in that place, that's where he was, and he felt nothing that was happening to him. So, thoughts are important. And chapter 18, verse 55, I didn't even put it here, but chapter 15, verse 55, it also talks about this same concept of having that consciousness, having that knowledge. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. When one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Because again, it's about where your mind is. If your mind is with God, that's where you're going to be. If your mind is stuck in school, that's where your mind is going to be. You know, some of us, we graduate college, we graduate high school, but for a lot of us, it doesn't feel like we ever left. We still have that same kind of conception, that same kind of mindset. And it's hard to move past that. You know, it feels like you finished college, you finished your studies, great, now you started working. Now you're just catching up to another deadline. And your mind is just stuck in that train of thought. And the goal of this movement, the reason Srila Prabhupada came here, to break that conception, so that we can start molding our real spiritual life, our real mind. Because being school conscious is only good for as long as you're in school. Same thing with veterans when they go overseas to go to war. Yes, the consciousness that they develop, it keeps them alive. And it's a blessing and it's wonderful that they're able to make it back. But if you know veterans, that is something that they struggle with. Breaking that mold of the military and rejoining civilization. Because war consciousness is good when you're at war. War consciousness is not good when the war finishes. And in this sense, again, the way you think, the thoughts that you have, the consciousness that you have, these are things that we need to keep in mind, that we need to strive towards. And it's not simple enough. Think of Krishna, be absorbed in Krishna, and you attain Krishna. We do it with other things. If you ever start scrolling through Facebook or through Instagram or iPhone or whatever things you use on your phone, I don't know if you guys have felt it, but you feel yourself get sucked into the device. Same thing when we're watching sports. If there's any sports fans here, I see that smile. But when you're watching those sports, it feels like you're there on the field. You feel their emotions. You feel the adrenaline. That's what attracts us so much. Same thing with a movie. If you guys have, everyone's seen a movie at least once. But if you're watching a movie, and it's a really well-made movie, it pulls you into the movie with you. When you're watching a scary movie, why do you get scared? Why do you get scared? Oh no, this lady, she's running away from this killer. Ah! You're not there. Are you there? Should it scare you? No, you're not. It's not you. But it feels like it's you. Same thing if you're watching this heartbreaking narrative, this drama of a couple having troubles in their life. Sometimes you feel their relationship, you feel their trouble, and it brings you to tears. Again, if you've seen a good movie that has brought you to tears, it's because we feel the emotions that they're feeling. And same thing with a good book. If you're reading a good book, I know you read a lot. So when you read a really good book, how does it feel?
Just like whatever the mood of the book is, I guess.
Okay, so, because I've seen you read, and you get absorbed. It feels like I'm watching you go into the book. Everything else around you disappears. And it feels like you're in a completely different world. And a good book can do that. So notice, we're able to do this with all these different things, books and movies and sports. But even for some of us devotees that have been in the movement for so long, it's difficult to get absorbed in Krishna. And it's okay that it's difficult. You know why? Srila Prabhupada, he tells us. Very first text, who has the mic? Whoever has the mic, just pick it up. Yes, thank you, bro. Read the first sentence. Just the first sentence.
The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult.
Can you read that again?
The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult.
Read it one more time. Use an auspicious number.
The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult.
Undoubtedly difficult. Undoubtedly difficult. It's so easy to get absorbed in everything else, but it's so difficult to get absorbed in Krishna. So difficult. So difficult. So just keep this in mind. It's okay. The path is difficult. The path is hard. But don't allow that to discourage you. Please don't. Because again, this is the goal of life, to get absorbed in Krishna. The same way that when you get absorbed in a movie or in a book, you feel those same emotions. You feel what that character feels. You feel what that movie is. Same thing with Krishna. When you become absorbed in Krishna, you feel the emotion that is Krishna. You feel that love. You feel what Krishna feels. Sat Chit Ananda. Krishna is full of eternal knowledge and bliss. Eternal knowledge and bliss. And when you become absorbed in Krishna, then you also develop those qualities. You also become Sat Chit Ananda. Eternal. Full of knowledge and full of bliss. But especially when the reward is so high, the endeavor is going to be high as well. So it's natural. The most pleasant feeling that you've ever felt, doing anything in your life, it came because you became absorbed in that thing, in that scene, and you felt that emotion. So now if you do that with Krishna, the reward, the feeling of eternal bliss, of full knowledge, is much more rewarding. Much more rewarding. So, it's difficult, but if you stick to this process, the reward is going to be very high. And again, Srila Prabhupada, he came here to let us know. He came here to preach that message. He came here to let us know, yes, you might be enjoying now, but if you absorb yourself in Krishna, your life is going to be so much more successful. And now, going back to 7:30, because how can we do this? It starts with association. The second sentence, it says it right there. It says it right there. The beginning of Krishna consciousness is association of persons who are Krishna conscious. Such association is spiritual and puts one directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. So association, that's where your spiritual life starts. That's how you become successful. And I know I've heard a few quotes, talking about the importance of association. You are the sum of the people that you hang out with, or the people that you surround yourself with. Something else I've heard is, tell me the people closest to you in your life, and I will tell you who you are. Because again, the people we surround ourselves with, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's our work associates, because at least the way that the workforce treats us now, they tell you, oh, you don't need to see your family. Your coworkers are your family. Just keep working. You're with your family. Well, indoctrination. But again, these people you surround yourself with, that is who you eventually become. And same thing in Shastra. There's plenty of examples of this in Shastra, because poor association can lead to very poor decisions. One example is with Ravana. Ravana kidnapped Sita. But why did Ravana even have the idea to kidnap Sita in the first place? Because of his sister. And his sister, she was just upset. Oh, Ram doesn't want me. So you know what? No one can have him. Told Ravana, oh, Sita's so pretty. Why don't you have her as your wife? You're so powerful. You own everything. She's already yours. She should be yours. You should go take her. And Ravana, falling for this bad association, that's exactly what he did. He ran out. He got some even worse association, made a master plan, and then kidnapped Sita. And then the rest of that's a story for another time. But again, poor association. Same thing with Kamsa. Kamsa, had very, very Krishna conscious, very spiritual, very positive people in his life. His stepbrother, his sister, both fully Krishna conscious. But who did he spend most of his time with? It was with his ministers. For those of you that are new, Kamsa was big ruler, big old king. Did a lot of bad stuff. A lot of bad stuff. So, Kamsa, surrounding himself with very demoniac, very poor association with his ministers would just keep feeding him bad idea after bad idea. It was prophesied that Krishna would come and kill Kamsa. So, knowing that this would happen, one thing you could say is, oh, you know what? Vishnu, he helps the demigods and he helps the devotees. Maybe if I fall at the feet of Vishnu, maybe he will spare my life. But what do his ministers tell him instead? No. We don't like Vishnu. We don't like any of the demigods. We should go to every village and kill all of the babies that were just born to make sure that Krishna doesn't come. Because if they're all dead, then, the prophecy can't be fulfilled. Same thing with the Brahmanas and the cows. These demoniac ministers, they had a bone to pick with Vishnu. And knowing that the Brahmanas, the cows, the Vedas, all these are different parts of Vishnu's body. What they decided was, let's persecute all the Brahmanas. Let's mess up all the Vedas. Let's make sure that we hit Vishnu where it hurts. Now naturally, Vishnu being the supreme, did that do anything? No. They were fighting a losing battle. But poor association does that to us oftentimes. Poor association makes us fight losing battles. As alcoholics, oftentimes people become alcoholics, not just because of the situation, but because of the people that they're with. And the people that they're with, they just feed into the bad habits. Oh yeah, let's go out for some drinks. Yeah. We went yesterday, but that was yesterday. It's today, YOLO. You only live once, brother. Same thing with anything else. Oh, you have school, you have classes, you have homework. Don't do your homework. Let's go play Roblox. Let's go online. Let's go play games. No, homework doesn't matter. What happens?
You go play games?
Do you do your homework? Do you do that before or after you play? No, you're playing games. You can't do your homework. So notice, bad association. It doesn't matter how young or how big you are. All of us can fall prey to poor association. Oh, and even Mother Yashoda Maya. Even she was worried about the association of little baby Krishna. Oh. And it's back. But yes, Mother Yashoda, even she was worried about the association of Krishna. During Damodar Leela. Some of us that don't know the pastime, little baby Krishna was being a little bit of a rascal, stole some butter, was eating the butter, was distributing the butter to some monkeys, and there was a little baby. He was, I want to say 3 years old. Very small, very young. But he was distributing the butter to the monkeys. And when Mother Yashoda saw this, after the chase, after he ran, she caught up to him, reprimanded him. They had a little bit of a dialogue. You're always out here hanging out with the monkeys. Maybe you are a monkey. How did Krishna respond? Well, maybe I'll go run away and live in the forest with the monkeys. This terrified her. As a parent, dads and moms, if your son came up to you, if your daughter came up to you and said, you know what, Mom? And mind you, they're just 5 years old, just very little. I'm gonna go live in the forest with the monkeys. How would you respond? Scared. Yeah. Oh my goodness, my son's gonna run away. The forest with the monkeys, that's no place for my little prince. For the Prince of Vrindavan. Bhaktisiddhanta said something similar. This material world is no place for a gentleman. So again, even Mother Yashoda feared for poor association for her baby Krishna, for her prince. Actually, there's another part to this, on the same topic of association, because when Mother Yashoda bound Sri Krishna, what did Mother Yashoda bind Sri Krishna to? For everybody else, she didn't want him to run into the forest, so she thought, oh, I have so many other responsibilities, let me tie you up here, make sure you stay here as punishment, and let me go finish my duties. So what did she tie little Krishna to? Was it to a tree? Yes or no?
No.
No. Was it to a rock?
No.
No. So what was it?
Mortar.
Mumble, mumble, mumble.
Mortar.
A wooden grinding mortar. Thank you, Prabhu. A wooden grinding mortar. But now why this wooden grinding mortar? This wooden grinding mortar was the same grinding mortar that he flipped over, climbed on top of, to steal the butter. So this grinding mortar, he was just as guilty. He helped. He was an accomplice. And again, poor association. When you associate with someone that's getting into some trouble, you're also going to get in trouble. Even if you're just going to say, oh, I'm just a wooden grinding mortar, I didn't know better. Poor association. It doesn't matter how many times you say that. Officer, 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 don't arrest me. I didn't know better. But then you're hanging out with the people that robbed the bank 5 minutes ago. That's funny. Yeah. Poor association. Just because you don't know better, you are still going to reap the consequences of associating with the wrong people. It's natural. It's natural. But again, that's why it's good that we have Srila Prabhupada. We're going to go to this text here. I'm not going to read the text itself. We're running a little low on time. Well, I'll read the text. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14, verse 31. I'm going to read the translation, then I want to get into the purport. Just very briefly. In this way, the descendants of the monkeys intermingle with each other, and they are generally known as Sudras. Without hesitating, they live and move freely, not knowing the goal of life. They are captivated simply by seeing the faces of one another, which remind them of sense gratification. They are always engaged in material activities, known as Gramya Karma, and they work hard for material benefits. Thus, they forget completely that one day their small lifespans will be finished and they will be degraded into the evolutionary cycle. And just to give more understanding of this, I'm just going to read the first few sentences. That's all we need for right now. Materialistic people are sometimes called Sudras, or descendants of monkeys, due to their monkey-like intelligence. They do not care to know how the revolutionary process is taking place, nor are they eager to know what will happen after they finish their small human lifespan. This is the attitude of Sudras. And in this age, all of us are born as Sudras. All of us that are born into this degraded age are born with that kind of intelligence, with that monkey consciousness. Now, in previous ages were more elevated. You had some that were Brahmanas, you had some Kshatriyas, but in this age, there are no qualified Brahmanas. There are no qualified Vaishyas and Kshatriyas. All of us that are born here are born as Sudras. We're born with those qualities. And then thinking about that, all of us are born with these monkey brains. Who are the ones that are in charge? Running the countries. Well, I heard someone say, monkeys. The whole world is run by monkeys. And what do monkeys do? What are the qualities of these monkeys? Well, they forget about their own mortality. They run around and act as if they're not going to die. And if you see the way that some leaders are, that's exactly how they act. They act as if they're invincible. All that money, all that power, all that wealth, it's going to keep them alive forever. And naturally, will it? No. I believe it was Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great could have conquered the whole world because of his military prowess. But you know what happened to him? He had all this money, he had all this wealth, he had all this military power, and then he got sick. I believe he was in his 20s when it happened. Very young, very young. And with all the money that he had, he went everywhere. He was looking for the best doctors, the best medicine, and there was nothing that could save him. At that moment, that's where he really felt the uselessness of his wealth, of all that stuff that he accumulated. And in the same way, these people that are in charge, they forget this as well. They forget, oh, you know, I'm the head of this company, head of the CEO, I have 5 yachts in the back, I take pleasure vacations to the Bahamas. And the one thing that doesn't cross their mind is, well, I'm getting kind of old. Oh, that cough is kind of hard. Ooh, my back kind of hurts. That's just one quality. Another quality. And these are all coming from... Oh, I'm getting to that. Okay. But, you know, all these qualities are here. The descendants of monkeys, they completely forget that they have to die. They're very proud of their scientific knowledge. They're proud of the progress of material civilization. And the main thing is that their only focus is on their bodily comforts. The word that was used here, gramya karma. Those are activities specifically aimed at making yourself comfortable, at being happy. Now, what are some of these activities? Eating good, eating tasty food. Because yes, we need to eat healthy, but eating healthy doesn't mean eating donuts for breakfast every day, or having pizza late at night. All of these things are just for our taste buds. It feels good, it tastes good. And we're stuck in this. Again, pride for material civilization, the progress that we've made. It's another part of this monkey consciousness. So how can we get out of this monkey consciousness? This Sudra consciousness. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came down. That was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. That's right here in this next sentence. Who has the microphone? Who has the microphone?
Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, this Krishna conscious movement, is trying to elevate the Shudras to the Brahmana platform so that they will know the real goal of life.
Perfect. Perfect. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to elevate us. To elevate us from monkey consciousness to what? No, not God consciousness. Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness, no God consciousness. God is so vague. Someone says the word God, that doesn't tell us anything. But when you say God's name, Krishna, that is where you can start making a relationship. You're not wrong, but take it personal. Be personal. Krishna wants us to be personal. You know, when, let's say, I run Pepsi. When I meet people, and let's say I meet people at my home. Yes, you could say, oh, Mr. Pepsi founder, how are you? And that's not wrong, it's a title. Yes, I'm the founder of Pepsi. Mr. Pepsi founder, oh, it's so good to meet you. But it's something else to say, oh, that's your son? Oh, you're little Krishna's dad. You're Krishna's dad. That feels different. Dads that are here. Whenever your child, let's say he was younger, right? No, even now. When someone comes up to you and talks to you about your son or your daughter, how do you feel? I'm asking you.
Proud.
Pride, proud. It feels good. Same thing for moms. It feels good when you hear someone talking about your children. And you're a lot nicer to them. It just happens naturally. It happens naturally. So in that way, yes, take it personally. When you talk to Krishna, when you talk to God, call God by his name. He'll love it, I promise. So, moving on. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, which is also Srila Prabhupada's mission. Oh, that's the most important part. That's the most important part. Yes, Sri Chaitanya came down to elevate us from Sudras to devotees, from Sudras to Brahmanas, from monkey consciousness to Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada has the same mission, which is what makes his mission so powerful. Srila Prabhupada's mission, again, is to elevate us to that platform of Krishna consciousness. And again, this is the conclusion. Going back to chapter 7. Chapter 7, verse 30. The conclusion of chapter 7 of knowledge of the absolute. Again, why does it matter? Why should we have knowledge of the absolute? It's good for making us Krishna conscious, for getting us absorbed in thinking about Krishna. That's why we should know his knowledge, his opulence. We should have knowledge of the absolute, knowledge of God, so we can get to know God, so that we can think about God. And once we are absorbed in thoughts of him, we are teleported there. That is where we are. Because once you're convinced, again, chapter 7, text 30 says, once you are convinced of Krishna as the supreme person, you never forget. You never forget. So what's our issue right now? One way or another, we're not convinced. It's that simple. A lot of us that have been in this movement, we know Krishna is the supreme. We know that he owns everything. We know he's Bhagavan. But just because you know means nothing. Because knowledge of the absolute, just having the knowledge, is a step. It's a step in the right direction, don't get me wrong, but it's just a step. That needs to culminate into becoming convinced. Because again, knowing Krishna is the supreme and being convinced that he is the supreme. The main issue a lot of us get into is we know Krishna is the supreme, but then we still put ourselves over him. We still are the main characters in our own story. And we love being the main character, you know? Everything's about me. Me. M-I-E, me. Why I? Because I put the me in me. I put the me in me. No one else put the I in me. I put the I in me. But I don't. Krishna is the one that puts the I in me. So again, we know Krishna is the supreme. We know God is above us. But one way or another, we still put ourselves over him. And it happens in the most subtlest of ways. In the most subtlest of ways. When you go out and you're at the bakery and you see something that tastes good, first thing that oftentimes comes to our mind is, no, it tastes good. We don't think, Krishna would like that. God would like to eat that. No, that's not usually what we think. We always think of ourselves first. We always think of ourselves first. And this Krishna consciousness movement is going to help us. It's to help us, again, break that mold. We talked about how, war consciousness, breaking the mold. Monkey consciousness, breaking the mold. But along with monkey consciousness is me consciousness. I am me conscious. I am conscious. It's all about me. And through this practice, we break that mold. So that once that mold is broken, we can become Krishna conscious. We can start thinking of Bhagavan. We can start thinking of the Supreme. And we can become convinced that the Supreme, yes, the Supreme is both a person and he is far above me. Because here's another thing that we tend to think. We say, oh, Krishna is a person. Krishna is above me. But he's not that far above me. There's Krishna, and I'm a close second. It's like you're sharing space with Krishna. You're pretending to be God next to God. And that's not true Krishna consciousness. Because again, being convinced that he's the Supreme. What does Supreme mean? Supreme, not the brand, but something that's really supreme. It's far surpasses anything else in its category. Anything else in its category. In a way that you can't even really talk about. we can try to give some analogies, like let's say if I have a Prius, what could be supreme to a Prius? Maybe a Tesla, maybe a Lamborghini, maybe an Aston Martin. Same thing with phones. Oh, I got an old flip phone from '05. Someone would say, oh wow, that's a relic. No, you need the new iPhone. The iPhone, where are we on? 21, 22? 15, 14? Okay, I'm behind then. But yeah, oh wow, you have an iPhone 7? You caveman. You need to upgrade. You need to get to the supreme. You need to get yourself an iPhone 14. But Krishna is not supreme in that sense. Because Krishna is supreme in the sense that there is no other. That is true supremacy. Being supreme, truly supreme, means being one without a second. Jai Shri Shri Thakur Antaraja Ki! But, regardless, we're all trying to work on this. Being monkey conscious. Even Hanuman. Great Hanuman. Superhero that we all know and love. Even he started out monkey conscious. One of the things about being a Sudra, monkey conscious, is we love to meddle with the Brahmanas. We love to disturb their activities. You see someone doing good, you want to mess it up. And Hanuman was the same way when he was born, when he was little. He had a lot of power that he got through, his birth, and then things happened. But regardless, he had a lot of power. He loved to jump around, fly around, and he loved to meddle with the Brahmanas. He would take their stuff for offering. He would, play pranks on them. He would disturb all of their processes. So they went to Indra. They told him, Indra, can you stop this? He's bothering us. We're trying to do our services, and we can't. So what did Indra do? What was it? What did I throw? Lightning bolt. Threw the lightning bolt, struck Hanuman, and then Hanuman finished. So now, one way or another, Hanuman was revived, and as penance for killing Hanuman, all the demigods bestowed their power upon him. But along with bestowing their power upon him, they also took away his memories. So he was granted all this power, but he could not remember any of it. So he continued going around as if he were a normal monkey. And he did get his memory back eventually, but how did he get it back?
Wrong.
Not wrong.
Jambu.
He's part of the story.
Jambu.
Now he wanted to serve Ram. He wanted to serve Ram. He wanted to serve Ram as his devotee. But he felt that he couldn't. It was by his guru, Jambavan. You could say it was his spiritual master. His spiritual master, through his mercy, granted him the remembrance of who he really was. And then after he gained his memory, he remembered his power, he jumped across the ocean, which is a story for another time. But this is the importance of having guru. This is the power of guru. It's important to have that outside help. Growing up, we've all experienced a lot in our lives. Does anybody remember being in the womb? Anybody have any memories? I've met some people that have memories of it. Does anybody remember their first day in daycare? Okay. Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember their third day of school? Yeah, everybody can remember first, but no one can remember thirds. Does anybody remember their 51st day in college? For those of us that went to college. Does anybody remember the second day of your first job? Notice, I'm asking so many questions. Nobody remembers? Oh, you remember? Oh, I guess it was something very specific. How about the third day? Well, no, nothing happened. It's okay. It wasn't important. Second day is important. But no, we have all these memories. But how are we supposed to remember? Well, some people, some parents, they keep photo albums. And that's why we take photos. We love taking photos because, ooh, that's something I'll remember for the scrapbook. You know, her playing with the murder on the leg. That will bring you to tears down the line. It will bring so many warm memories and it feels so good. That's why we set reminders on our phone. Oh, I have a meeting. I have a meeting at 5 o'clock. I need to make sure I don't miss it. That's why we do all these things. Our parents, they serve to remind us about how we were as children. Our coworkers, they can remind us about things that happened at work. Our teachers can remind us about things we forget in school. And notice, it's important to have that outside assistance. So just like with your teacher in school, why did Srila Prabhupada come? Srila Prabhupada came to remind us. Just like Jambavan reminded Hanuman of who he really is. Srila Prabhupada, he came to remind us of who we are. Because yes, we were someone before I put on these clothes. You know? Just as we change our clothes, we change our bodies. From infancy, youth, to old age, until it all starts over again. So I have some memories of this. Even the small fraction of memories I have of this. I can't remember anything of what happened before this. But that's why we have a reminder. Srila Prabhupada reminds us, helps us remember where we were, what we were, before we were this. Because guess what? This isn't you. You think this is you, but this isn't you. You are something superior. Just like Krishna. Krishna is superior. Satchidananda. And we have a fragment of that. We have that fragment, but we can only realize that once we become fully absorbed in consciousness of Krishna. And how we're going to do that? Well, it's nice to have a reminder. I'm blessed that Srila Prabhupada came here because I have a very limited memory space. I need someone to hit me with a danda and say, hey, remember. See, our parents do that growing up too. They don't hit you because they want to hit you. They hit you because it jogs our memory. Like, hey, remember. Do you remember now? Yes, Mom. I remember now. Yes, Dad. Sorry, I forgot. And then what do we do when we remember? We forget again. But oftentimes, again, why do we forget again? Poor association. We know what's good for us, but when you hang out with people that tell you to do something else, naturally, you're going to do something else. You know, I know I'm supposed to get into work on time at 10 o'clock on the dot, but I'm hanging out with my friends. My friends told me I don't have to go to work that early. So I'll get there at 11. Yeah, I'll get to work at 11. It's okay. And you know what happens then when you do that? What happens?
You get fired?
Oh, perfect. Say that louder.
You get fired.
You get fired. Yeah, no one wants to talk about it. Yeah, if you don't get to work on time, you get fired. It's that simple. So it's good to have someone that reminds us. And that's why it's good to have a spouse. You know, your husband and your wife, they're very good at reminding you. Hey, you're going to be late. Do you have your wallet? Do you have your keys? Do you have your phone? I knew you didn't have your phone. Go get it. You know, our wives, they keep us on the straight and narrow. And same thing with husbands, you know. Oh, can't think of anything. There's probably something. We're good for something. But yes, reminders. Srila Prabhupada came to give us that remembrance. And in that same mood of remembrance, we should take the time to remember Srila Prabhupada. Again, during this time of Kartik, Srila Prabhupada left his body. But what he left behind is indispensable. The most we can do is, one, to further his mission, and two, to remember. Remember everything that he's done for us. Do you want me to put the video here? Yes, I just gotta get this. So, while I put up this video, who has the mic? Let's pass the mic around and just give us one takeaway from today's class? Just one. It can be something simple. You have the mic, so you're gonna start.
Okay.
Check. And then after you finish, just give the mic to someone.
Hare Krishna Guru. So one key takeaway from this point is that Prabhupada's mission is same as the Mahaprabhu's mission, which is elevate us from the monkey consciousness in which we were all born to Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, and spiritual master can take us to there.
Hare Krishna. One takeaway is, as Prabhu said, we all born with a monkey consciousness, and the only way we can elevate ourselves is to follow Srila Prabhupada, which he's carrying out Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mission. And one way we can do that is by studying his books. Even though he's not here, he's always in his books. Hare Krishna.
A takeaway was that the higher the reward, the harder it is to attain. And so Krishna consciousness is it gives the highest reward, so it's like really difficult.
I guess the power of association, because you can get good association, and that, you know, if people are saying, hey, we're going to the temple, do you want to come? People are going to be more likely to come if they're going with their friends. But at the same time, poor association can be so powerful because they'll be like, yeah, you don't need to go to the temple, you know, you just stay home, watch a movie, you know? So, power of association.
One thing I heard is we need reminders, both materially and spiritually. Materially, family members can help, but spiritually, our association and Guru can help us to remind.
One thing I took away from this is that Srila Prabhupada understands how difficult this process of Krishna consciousness is, and yet, you know, even for him it's so difficult. You know, how can you cultivate a Shudra to a Brahmana, right? That you just cannot escape that, because these qualities, these tendencies to behave as a Shudra is so potent, you know. But Srila Prabhupada's come here because of Mahaprabhu's mission to preach to everyone, so that was something I really enjoyed seeing that.
Yes, please, grab the mic. It can be anything.
Okay, follow the arc, A-R-K. Always remember Krishna.
A-R-K, arc. See, stuck around. That's how you know you had a good class.
What I remembered through a knock that you hit me with was association. How powerful association can be in really understanding Krishna consciousness and, you know, drawing yourself closer to Krishna. But yeah, just like she said, association is important.
Anything you took away? Just one thing, anything.
One thing is that I truly enjoyed this class. You know, I truly enjoyed the class. It was very, very humorous, and I really enjoyed it. And also, I felt that, you know, coming here to the temple is very important, and to get this devotee association that can, you know, help us to be connected with Krishna. Thank you.
Pass it down.
And it matters you, whatever she said.
Okay, now add something yourself. Something new. But you don't have to give a speech. Just one thing that...
One thing you didn't like, we said.
Okay. Something you didn't like about the class.
One thing, I'm sorry.
One thing you didn't like, he said.
That's what reminder. Remind me of things.
Oh yeah, always remind me, but not that. Don't forget your wallet, don't forget your badge. Every day. When we were living in New York, every day.
You guys have remind
No.
me? Pass it down.
No.
Pass it down.
No.
Somebody. Just keep like moving.
Oh, yeah. Let's close it.
Yeah. So one thing that I learned is that we need a guru like Jamavan to remind us like who we really are and to how to live it ourselves.
Very nice, bro. Very nice. Behave Mother Teresa.
Oh? You're gonna say it?
I should tell you that you give a very nice class. Thank you for your teaching. I can hear so much, but more clear to me is in Tamil. But English, your English is simple for me. But only that I can't speak that your level. Thank you so much to you. I keep on chanting with my Krishna conscious.
Very good. I would like to say that instead of all this thing, we should chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I learned that thoughts travel faster than the speed of light, which is weird.
It is. But it's also powerful.
Hare Krishna. Krishna is supreme. Very short.
Haribo!
No, I really enjoy your, the liveliness you have. And we know when you speak, you're speaking from your heart. So really, I think everybody kind of said the key takeaways.
Did you say it again?
A lot of them, again, power of association, Krishna being supreme, and how do you move from being a monkey. We're all monkeys.
That's the hardest part.
Except we don't have the tail.
We don't have a tail.
Technically, we have the bone there. But who has the mic? Oh yes, Prabhu, I saw you come in. It's good to see you.
Haribo. I like the example you used of Jambavan reminding Hanuman of his nature, because it reminded me of something that I saw in the purport there, that the business of the monkeys is to disturb. But the amazing thing about a spiritual master is that once they remind you of your different qualities, those same things that can be used as disturbances can also be used in the service of the Lord. So the business of a monkey is to jump, and Hanuman is able to jump across the ocean full of realm. So I like that the spiritual master, especially Srila Prabhupada, is able to show us how to use our natural inclinations for Krishna.
But I guess on that same note, notice, when did Hanuman get his memory back? Yes, when Jambavan reminded him, but what even prompted that in the first place?
The desire to serve.
Yes, the desire to serve. All of us have a lot innate in us, a lot of power ourselves, and that power can really come out when we make the decision that we want to serve God, that we want to serve Krishna.
Amazing class, Prabhu. I'm going to follow up whatever I missed on YouTube. Thanks for the YouTube video. I have a lot to learn by watching you.
Okay, so now give a takeaway.
That you showed the spiritual world and the sky from the material world. I learned something new today. I was going to ask you if there is a reference. You said there's, even when you travel at the speed of mind, there's a long distance. Was the first time I heard, so I was wondering if there's a reference.
I know there's a reference, I don't remember the reference.
It's okay, we can follow up later.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I liked the use of all the stories that you told about Kamsa, Ravan, and Lord Hanuman. So that was a wonderful class, particularly because of these examples that you gave. And my takeaway would be that even Lord Hanuman needed Jamban to be reminded that he has this much power and he can jump and serve the Lord. Similarly, we also need to be reminded. For that, we must be associating with devotees who are Krishna conscious. They will remind us, and that's how we can develop. We can do devotional service and reach Kingdom of God.
Thank you, Prabhu. I don't think I've heard you
one key takeaway is how we fall into the trap of me conscious, or how we put ourselves above everyone else. Be it God, be the people around you, our own self-interest takes over. That's one key takeaway.
See, and it's so funny. It seems like no matter how powerful someone is, even God will still find some justification to go over them, to put ourselves on top of them.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, very nice class. I like the emphasis that was placed on association, and that even though devotional service is so difficult, like a razor edge, more or less, describe other places, it still can be done easily by association. The easiest way we can do it is in association of devotees. There is this verse in Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, 22:54, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastri Khaya, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Sevi Haya. By association with devotees, in a moment association with a pure devotee, everything, Sarva Sevi Haya, all perfection can be obtained with only a moment association with a pure devotee. So Srila Prabhupada's, we can have more than a moment association with pure devotee Srila Prabhupada through his Vani, his word. His word is recorded in his teaching, his books. He was doing dictaphone, so the words were, and from the dictaphone it's recorded in the books. So we can have more than a moment of association, so we don't have any excuse. Associate ourselves as much as possible with the reading of Srila Prabhupada books. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. He's talking about that. He also, sorry. Because Srila Prabhupada also is the reason that this wonderful temple is here. ISKCON temples are all around the world now. All around the world, across multiple different countries. And that's something else that he gave us. It's said that Srila Prabhupada built this house for us. All we need to do is just come inside. Come to where the devotees are. And again, like you said, there's no excuse. But we'll still find an excuse. And I promise you, no matter what we talk about, you will always find an excuse. There's always an excuse to not read. There's always an excuse to not come to the temple. There's always an excuse. Yes.
Yeah, bro, very nicely prepared class. Thank you very much. One thing you shared was good. The part where it says it's difficult, how the bhakti process is very difficult. Prabhupada himself says this. And then he also said that we need to become convinced that Krishna is supreme. And then he also went ahead and provided us the possibilities in which we can use in applying our intelligence and our work ourselves and services in different ways to bring out the conviction. Yes, I have heard Krishna is supreme, but now by following these principles and these processes, I can really make that faith very, very strong. And also, you also did a lot of references of different places, Gita and the Bhagavatam. So that's very important, and I'm happy to do that because Prabhupada spent sleepless nights, as we say, writing all these books. And all we're going to do is what? And read and then share. That's all we can do. Open, read and share. He does all this work for us. And when we read these things, we can be convinced that we all, monkey-like people, monkey-like brain, can transform ourselves into Brahmanas. So I was said that you did a nice presentation, as most of the people have said, and you picked out most good slokas that really hits on the head, that's on the target, on the nail, that yes, it's difficult, we need to become convinced, and the possibilities and the processes that which we can use how to follow this path of bhakti and make it sound not too difficult, but yes, it's possible, and the joy of devotional service, or performing the devotional service. So, thank you very much. I like that. Hare Krishna. So, we're going to have one of our video here. We have the lights down. And I'm going to check one audio here. It's playing or played. Is the sound of the TV?
Yes, that should be.
Just go,
and then that should be good.
Go high. Right. I don't know if I'm play there or not play there. very important that why we show this video. Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day was last Thursday, so we want to celebrate him by remembering him, what he did for us and what little we can do for him.
Sitting in the holy land of Vrindavan, he got the enthusiasm to make one last trip to the west, and Bhaktivedanta Manna was first on his list. He would arrive at Heathrow on 28th of August, 1977.
We had about 24 hours warning on a crackly phone line from India. And we learned that Prabhupada was coming to England and that he was going to Kishanagri in America.
The shock for all of us was Prabhupada's change of appearance.
We saw that he was remarkably thinner. He wasn't speaking.
He wasn't very animated, he was very internal, and he was still golden and still shiny, but you could tell that, the clock was ticking for his time in his plane.
But the atmosphere was just electric here. The UK devotees all kind of converge, and then the devotees from Germany and who are the top distributors in the world came in.
I remember when I came into the room where Prabhupada received the German Sankirtan devotees. He was so emaciated. He sat on a rocking chair, and he looked as if one of his feet was already in the spiritual world.
We didn't sing the Guru Ramadan prayers because Prabhupada asked that was too emotional for him to stand that, so we would just chant Hare Krishna.
And the German devotees in particular were very physical, very animated in their dancing during Kirtan. So we would run with them. Us more sedate British boys would run from one end of the temple up to the other. And then Prabhupada made a gesture with his hand. And he said,
and we took it. That means jump, dance.
The room just completely exploded. Everybody just jumped. Wonderful.
And as we did that, Prabhupada then had this huge smile across his face, seeing the devotees just go crazy in Kirtan.
Although he was weak, although he was old, although he was already on the other side of life, so to say, when he made this gesture indicating that we should dance, we danced and jumped, and I felt so joyful at that time. I felt he is my spiritual master, and in a way, he will never die.
Prabhupada's gratitude to the devotees was just phenomenal.
It was quite extraordinary that he came out of India in that condition, and that he actually graced us in England with his presence. It taught us that we don't stop, we keep going. And he was practically on his deathbed. He was not eating anything except for juice. And he was ever so weak, but he was in the world, sharing Harikatha.
The prayer at that time Prabhupada had us do was,
My dear Lord Krishna, if you so desire, please cure Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna's desire was to take Prabhupada back. Prabhupada returned to the sacred land of Sri Vrindavan Dham, where, surrounded by his disciples and fixed on the Supreme Lord, he took his final breath. Thousands mourn the passing of the greatest spiritual revolutionary of the century, The first chapter of Bhaktivedanta Mana had come to a close, but a new one was dawning. Srila Prabhupada had performed immense sacrifice, and this nurtured a deep gratitude within his disciples.
My dear grandfather, spiritual master, and to you I most humbly pray. Let this servant like non-devotee in the dust of your feet then stay. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Vande Guru Shri Charananda, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Swami Swami Ambara Jitale, Hari Nam Samastane, Ambara Jitani Parita, Srila Prabhupada Patita Baba.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hari Bol. Yes.